In every region, there are groups of people who defy rules and gather together to do what they love most, throwing caution to the wind. At the Fort Riley military base, probably abandoned, Wes and his cronies assemble to partake in a bike race. Wes races another and wins the round before the police surround them. Wes has cops in hot pursuit, crashing police cars and endangering their lives. He's caught and almost successfully resists arrest before he's sent to prison. Wes's conduct has been a thing of concern. In this vein, he's dishonorably discharged from the force. 6 months in prison, and all he cares about is his lover, his bike. The minute he regains his freedom, he heads over to a bike racing show. Wes has his eyes fixed on Dean. After the race he wasn't involved in, Wes approaches Dean to have a word with him. Dean isn't receptive till Wes mentions Laura, his mom. It still isn't a good time for Dean to talk. Dean understands Wes's approach, so he does everything to avoid speaking to him. Seeing Wes's sadness, he offers to meet up at Maggie's. At the bar, Dean is more concerned with entertaining the ladies than giving Wes attention. Wes gets tired of the delay and leaves, but Dean follows him. He comes clean with his intentions. He wants to race and wants Dean to put him on. At his age, Dean isn't sure that Wes has a career in bike racing. In his defense, Wes thinks that if Dean can still race, then can't he do the same? There's nothing Dean can't do. Wes pushes no further, thanking Dean and taking his leave. The next day, at Dean's request, Wes pays Dean a visit to the workshop owned by Abel. They decide to hit the road and take a friendly ride. Dean warns Wes to follow his lead as they ride through a track. Wes tries to unnecessarily prove to Dean his abilities, and this almost lands them in a bad spot. At the end of the race, Dean warns that it's bad to show indiscipline. Dean likes his guts, though. He promises to put him on only if he can prove himself the right way. The next day, Dean takes Wes and they hit the track. As the race begins, Dean's warning that Wes ride easily falls on deaf ears, and Wes crashes off the track. Dean wasn't expecting more from the inexperienced Wes. He laughs at Wes and tells him to stick to street racing. That's where people with underlying indiscipline stay racing. Wes pleads with Dean. Being discharged and recently released from prison is quite tough. He needs a sense of purpose and a means to achieve said purpose. Dean is empathetic towards him, promising to help him, but only on his terms. Wes agrees. Firstly, Dean makes him announce to himself that he is bad at racing. He says it's the first step to being better. That day, Wes visits the cafe. He's visited a few times and, oh boy, Camila, the waitress, is gorgeous. He always stares at her from his seat, but this time, he approaches her and makes her acquaintance. Camila makes it clear that she doesn't date customers. Wes would rather not eat there again so he can be friends with the beauty. Camila is a sweetheart. With a broad smile, she hands over a note containing her contact to Wes. At the workshop, Dean and Wes begin work on one of the toys. With Dean attending to a lady, Abel offers Wes a job at the workshop. Of course, he jumps on it, something to put food on his table for the time being. Wes's bike is fixed. After the test run, Dean takes Wes for a lecture, helping him navigate the racing tracks. A quick lesson for Wes: street racing is way different and in no way bigger than track racing. Wes struggles to navigate the track. Dean's routine involves a physical workout that almost burns Wes out. Dean also works on Wes's mentality. Track racing needs all of Wes's faculties to function better. Wes's urge to prove himself repeatedly has him switch off the comms between himself and Dean mid-practice, proving that he can do it alone. For Wes, it's simply the faster he goes, the calmer he feels. Dean deems Wes ready to compete in his first race. This has been Wes's goal all along. It's evening and Wes hangs out with Camila. Wes has taken Camila's rule to never hang out with customers quite seriously, so he constantly refrains from visiting the cafe. Camila feels comfortable with Wes. They spend the evening getting acquainted with each other, stating their dreams and exploring current realities. Camila makes Wes do the things he'd prefer not to do. She makes Wes dance, quite intimately too, as they touch each other in inappropriate places. In a short while, the two start kissing passionately. The next day, Wes has his first official race. As they prepare for the race, Bobby walks to the team with his racer, the rich, spoiled Cody. The race begins, and Wes seems impressive. From start to finish, Wes makes Dean and Abel proud, finishing the race as a winner. As his name echoes from the public address system amidst cheers from fans, Wes can't be prouder than he is. The man of the moment is met by his lady, Camila. The lovers excuse themselves, instantly prompting Dean and Abel to conclude that Wes might run into deeper issues being with Camila. Abel doesn't fail to mutter, though, that Wes is way better than Dean ever was in his youth. Wes' milestone calls for a celebration, and Dean makes it a reality as they visit the bar. Aside from the shots, Dean paints the beautiful life that is ahead of him. At work the next day, Abel scolds Wes for arriving late because of the previous night's escapades. Wes promises to do better. For the record, Dean's racing career ended after his back injury. All he does is ride for fun and give his fans something to hold on to. During work-free hours, Dean shows Wes renowned drivers and shares their work ethics with him. This wells up a longing in Wes to become better. Wes is on the right path, as everything seems to be working perfectly. Finding the man who left his mom before he was born, racing conveniently, and having a thriving relationship with Camilla. Camilla shares a similar story. She was abandoned by her dad, who would rather spend time with his friends. This is probably why the lovers have an instantaneous connection with each other. The night is young, and the lovers have time to make out in Camilla's apartment. It's a special moment for them as they get intimate for the first time. It's morning, and as they lay in each other's arms, Emma's entrance with Leo, Camilla's son, wakes them up. Camilla apologizes for hoarding this knowledge from Wes. Being a single mom isn't a feat one would put out there very easily. Wes doesn't care about that. He loves his Camilla just the way she is. That day, Dean and Wes continue training. Wes is handed a new bike, but he feels uncomfortable riding it. He thinks he's not ready for an upgrade, but Dean makes him stick with it. Dean warns that he needs such a bike for the bigger races. Away from the track, Wes now must bring happiness to Camilla and Leo. Camilla is grateful, more so because Leo keeps missing his dad. Wes has been a good role model to Leo. It's another big day. Camilla and Leo are there to support Wes. Before the race starts, Dean does something weird. He advises Wes to take Cody out mid-race, but Dean immensely dislikes Cody and Bobby. The race begins. Dean is scared that Wes might be doing a tad too much, but Abel thinks Wes will be fine. Mid-race, it's Cody who tries to take Wes out of the race. Rightly so, Cody is flagged for doing the wrong thing on the track. The end of the race sees Dean and Bobby get into a fistfight. It soon turns into a brawl as Wes and Cody exchange blows. Abel is greatly disappointed in Dean for letting it get this intense. Dean doesn't mind, even when Abel tells him to stop bringing his name and workshop into disrepute. Dean, in his anger, decides to take Abel's workshop name tag off, starting his own racing franchise. Abel is sure Dean's every step is for the wrong reasons. Wes might just be his pawn in achieving what he couldn't. A case of using Wes to live the life he could have lived. At the bar, Dean announces to Wes that they're leaving Abel's workshop. Wes isn't comfortable with this speedy decision, but sticks with Dean. Dean also cautions Wes to slow down with Camilla. He thinks Camilla just wants a daddy figure for Leo. Wes's visit to Abel is short. Abel's only advice before Wes leaves is that he sharpen his skills, the only means to smash the opponents. Finally, Wes leaves, under the guise that he has to practice full-time. He moves in with Dean, cutting costs for himself, seeing that he has no job. For Dean, he's investing his time and money into the prodigy. It's practice day, but practice hasn't gone well for Wes. He might have a clouded mind, but really can't put a finger on it. Dean hands him a smoke, his antidote for a frail mental state pre-race. Wes waits for Camilla to have a word with her. In a short while, the two are arguing. Camilla doesn't want a violent entity near her son. She wonders when Wes planned to tell her he did time in prison. Dean snitched. Wes, on the other hand, compares it to Camilla hiding Leo from him. Well, maybe Dean is right. Camilla only wants a father for Leo. Wes is done. He's focusing on his career, and this is goodbye. Wes goes home to Dean, wanting to know why Dean abandoned him and his mother. Dean doesn't care about that. A youth with ambition can't possibly be raising a child. Moreover, Dean is angry at Wes for bringing such a matter up a night before his biggest race yet. Wes is mad, and everything is bare to him. Dean is probably just using him. It's a sad reality, considering that Wes bailed out on him as a kid. Dean then orders him to leave, and with tears in his eyes, Wes leaves. It's the end of the road for Wes. He burns his bike in the middle of the street, alerting police officers. The act lands him back in prison. It's Abel who picks him up and shelters him, advising him to keep his head low. Life has a lot to offer. It's morning already, and Dean shows up. He's man enough to own up to his mistakes, both for the previous day and when he walked out on Wes's mom. The two eventually squash their beef. Abel will support Wes all the way, so he hands Wes a fleet of bikes to choose from. Wes makes his pick, and that night, he rides to Camilla, but his apology doesn't cut it. Maybe it could, but Camilla can't live her life worrying about Wes's safety. It will be too much of a burden to bear. It's race day, and Wes's biggest surprise is seeing Dean as one of his opponents. Away from that, Camilla is there to support him. A big boost for him. The race begins, and it's Cody first, Dean in second position, and Wes in third position. Dean hasn't changed his perspective on Cody. Mid-race, he shoves Cody a little, sending him down the pecking order. It's now a two-horse race between father and son, Dean and Wes. The race is intense, as they both struggle their way to becoming champions, respectively. Sadly for Dean, he veers off track in an unexpected twist, crashing brutally. The race becomes an easy win for Wes as he speeds toward the finish line. The first thing Wes does is ride back to see the well-being of his dad. A racer has to have a strong will. Dean is helped up and is happy for Wes as he raises a fist to celebrate Wes's win. Wes finds his lover, bringing her close for a kiss, celebrating his win with the love of his life.